Hi, JJ. Let's see. Roy, I saw you. Sion. There's two Sions. Hannibal, there's another Sion in this chat. Yes, there is a student. Maybe they will unmute themselves and say hi.
Hi.
It's so cool. Hannibal, can you make the other Sion say hi? Or is she just yelling? No, she looks quiet.
I'm gonna say hi.
Classy.
Okay.
Classy.
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 She's saying socks in Amharic.
Why is she saying socks at us?
Hey.
I don't know.
S-U-S-N-O.
Oh my goodness.
It's a t-shirt. A t-shirt.
Yeah, it's a t-shirt. Okay.
Wow. Thank you for that. Hi. Hi, Blaine. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome, everybody. Okay, I think we're gonna just dive in. I'm not gonna wait any longer to begin class. Tonight is a lot, so batten down the hatches. It's really good. Well, we'll get to it. Let me share my presentation with you all. Okay. Oops. Okay, give me just a moment because I like moving your faces to where I can see them. Okay, you're still there. Sorry, hold on 1 second. There's something weird happening. Maybe I'm just too attached to my title slide, and that's what's going on. Okay, that's fine. I can look at your faces later. So can you all see me? Can someone unmute themselves and just say yes so that I can move forward?
Sí, señorita.
I see you. Okay, awesome. Class 4. All right, we're finishing ACI 12 tonight. The name of this class is Destroying the Illusion That Was Never There, Part 2. So it's a continuation of what we did on Tuesday. And so here we are. We covered embodied compassion already. We're studying the Bodhisattva Charyavatara together. Normally, when we teach these courses in the non-abbreviated form, this particular text, even though it's relatively short, gets 3 courses dedicated to it. That's 30 classes. We're doing it in 4 classes. Okay, so tonight is all about wisdom. And I'm going to invite you, as always, to make use of your time. Honor yourself and honor your time by connecting with compassion before we listen to Dharma. Meaning, when we do the Sashi Puki thing and we do our opening prayer, I was thinking about it. I think we all watched superhero shows when we were younger. And normally superheroes get a theme song when they transform from a normal person into their outfit. And they get this song that changes them from normal, going to school, going to work, into now I'm here for the sake of the city, or now I'm here for the sake of the planet. So I invite you now to try to enter the mind of the you that you will become from these teachings, the mind of a bodhisattva, someone with unconditional love for all beings, the mind of a warrior saint, show up as the antidote herself. Wisdom is feminine in Tibetan Buddhism. Show up as the antidote to suffering, show up as the antidote to samsara now in your mind. And let that be the reason why you're harvesting the sounds and the concepts of the teachings. Let that be the reason for you collecting information, because then it will actually do something. It won't if there's another reason. Inspirational imagery.
Wait, Rachel, I can't see the slideshow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can't either.
Yeah, it's not there.
Oh. Okay. Now?
But don't skip the inspo image. Ah, nice.
Okay. Pinterest. Okay. And it's from this state of mind that we offer a pure world. Whatever our concept of a perfect world might be, we conjure that up in our minds and then offer it to all of the Buddhas, including the Buddha that I will become, who would be here now. Okay. Sam, have you done it before?
I haven't.
Okay.
I mean,
Can you do it?
yeah. Sashi Puki Jukshin Metok Tram Rirab Lingshi Ninde Gampadi Sange Shingdu Mikde Uwargi Drokun Namdak Shingla Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratnamandalakam Niyatayami.
Did it change?
Yeah. Sange Chudang Soki Choknam La Jangchu Bardu Kabs Dakni Kabsu Chi Daki Chenyen Gipe Sunam Ki Drola Panchir Sange Jupar Sho Sange Chudang Soki Choknam La Jangchu Bardu Dakni Kabsu Chi Daki Chenyen Gipe Sunam Ki Drola Panchir Sange Jupar Sho Sange Chudang Soki Choknam La Jangchu Bardu Dakni Kabsu Chi Daki Chenyen Gipe Sunam Ki Drola Panchir Sange Jupar Sho.
With your eyes closed, just take a couple of seconds to step into the body of this compassionate you who gathers these teachings and these realizations for the sake of all beings. Think of the beings whose minds and hearts you will touch, even if you don't know them yet. Connect with your compassion for them, whatever their troubles are. Listen for them. And you can come back into the room. Okay, we're going to start with a breakout room, which is going to review and remind from some of the aspects of last class. So if you'd like, you can take a screenshot of this. I'm going to keep it up for 3 more seconds. 2, 1. Okay. And I'll be sorting you into groups with some of the students who've completed a few courses before or are already teachers. So feel that you can ask them any questions that you might have. But they're going to go over what the 2 truths are, or they're going to review karma and emptiness again, right? The foundation that this entire philosophy and every practice in Buddhism, and you can argue every practice in general, hinges on these 2 simple truths. And so we're going to review those, and then also in the group, review how the world functions, the world of appearances functions. Like, how is it that this karma is accumulated and keeps perpetuating the world that I'm forced to experience? And you'll get into it together. Okay. So if you are a breakout group leader, don't accept the invitation. Okay. Nice.
Oh, come on. We were just getting into it.
You always say that every class, Leah.
We just did the pen thing with newbies. It was so much fun.
The pen thing. What a blessing.
What pen thing?
We will go we'll go there for the entire rest of class. Santi, can you mute the chat? I want everyone to pay like drastic attention to this information. And then we'll unmute the chat and have like fun time, and we'll open up the energy at the end of class. But there's like a very, I want to make this as clear and easy to understand and digest as possible. And it doesn't matter how hard I try if your attention is split. So part of what I wanted to do in my amp up, for those who don't teach Dharma or meditation or yoga, you should know this about your teachers, is that there's actually a portion of their class plan where they literally have to figure out how to inspire you. Because there's something about, getting it. It's like, okay, do we talk about death? Do we talk about like COVID-19? Do we talk about positive things? So there's a part of the class where, and it does something to your energy, where you can start to understand, like you care about what you're learning, It's like the example we did with anger, where if you're holding the bowl of oil and someone had a knife at your throat and was like, listen, you can't spill a drop. And if someone did that to you, like you'd be able to do it. But if you were just sort of walking across your kitchen, and there was no knife, you may spill some drops, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you spill some drops. In the case of this particular class, your focused attention on the Dharma is planting seeds. If you want to get to high states of meditation, you should be interested in what I'm about to say. If you don't care and you want to not have a very deep meditation practice, or you're not really interested in that, don't worry about it. But if you do want to get to shamatha, single pointed focus, part of how we get to shamatha is how we live. This is part of living. This is planting seeds in your mind for what happens when you actually sit down and try to apply a spiritual practice. If you can train your mind to focus, it doesn't matter, like, it's not about me, it's about the Dharma that you're receiving, which, by the way, is a projection that you created, now you're experiencing. And if you can be single pointed on your projection of the Dharma, it's going to create a deeper experience of meditation for you. I know that it's difficult with the laptop thing. I know that it's difficult with the cell phone right next to you and Instagram right there, but try for your sake, it doesn't matter for me, but try for your sake to like be focused on this thing, because actually it really is a matter of life or death, actually. I don't want to be dramatic, but like, I think, you know, if you've stayed on this course for the weirdness that we did last class, then you're probably interested enough. You know that there's something about the wisdom here that Lord Buddha taught, right? Which I'm just repeating to you, and my teacher just repeated to me, and so on and so forth from Jay Tsongkhapa and before him. If it's interesting to you to unravel the patterns in your own mind that force you into suffering, you should pay attention, please, 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 okay? And I won't go for that long, and I'll try to make it as interesting as I possibly can. And for those who have Bodhisattva vows, this is the Bodhisattva vow. Every single word is the Dharma itself. Okay, I'm putting your faces here. I'm making them bigger. There's some people that are very responsive when I teach, and it really helps me, so thank you. I can tell from like your faces and your nodding if something's lit. Okay. Okay, you can see this, right? Where are we? All right, it's important to know in this roadmap, a lot happens between classes. We're reading this text, we're studying this text called the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, and it is a text. Who can give me a summary? Alana, tell me what the Bodhisattva Charyavatara is in one sentence.
It's how to be a bodhisattva and become an angel.
Okay, thank you. That was that was good.
Is that not what you're looking for?
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. I like the word angel. So a bodhisattva is someone who all day, all night, they're trained, like they're single pointed on this stuff because they see the suffering in their world. It hurts their heart. They don't numb out. They don't distract. Every individual personal suffering, from the ant that's smashing its face against the window to the person on the street who's asking for money, and so on and so forth, moves their individual personal heart. And it lights a fire inside of them to figure out what the F is going on. And if I can figure it out, then I can help all of these people. And it's not a savior complex thing. What it is if someone came up to you and said, listen, I just discovered the cure for cancer. Like, I really just discovered it. All you have to do is blah, blah, blah. Can you please go get it from my apartment and then distribute it to all beings? Like, you would do it, right? If someone said that to you, you would probably do it. It's like that. It's like that. Okay. Where are we in the text? We're at the bottom part, the bolded part. We've already covered the first 4 of the 6 main practices that a bodhisattva in training does, that a saint in training does. It's these ethical practices called the 6 perfections. And we started with ethics, keeping your morality, meaning when you make promises, keep them. Plant the right seeds. Stick to your word. Don't get angry is the next one, also called patience. This blossoms into something called joyful effort, which is taking joy in doing good. It's fun for you to sweep the floor of the temple. Modern day, it's fun for you to send emails so that all people's emails get the Zoom link for 3 joules so that they can hear Dharma, modern example. Okay, concentration, which is our meditation practice, which is why you're trying to keep your mind on these words, even if they sound boring and you've heard them a million times before, because if you can get concentration, you can hold wisdom with it and then break the cycle. Today we're going to be going through wisdom, and then we'll end with giving. We'll end with giving. Normally everyone starts with giving, but Master Shantideva, the author of the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, he flipped it on its head. And I think we'll see why when we get to that point. Okay, chapter 9, wisdom, you know this, we said it. This teaching, I already kind of went there, but whoa. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. It's moving on its own. Okay, whoop. Sorry, it's it's animating on its own. I'm just gonna stop the slide transitions, but I'm going to say what I was going to say regardless. Okay, which is a teaching that my Lama gave me about this, which is that what you get out of this teaching has absolutely nothing to do with the words that I'm saying, with my intention, with the sound of the words, and it has everything to do with your projections. We just talked about karma and emptiness, right? In the breakout rooms. And so if it's true that karma and emptiness is the way that the world works, then the way that I receive Dharma, and whether or not I'm one of those weird people that's crying and having an emotional experience, or I'm one of those weird people that are like glowing and having an amazing experience, or more often than not, just sitting there like everything is normal, right? That's all created. And the way that you treat this class now is what's going to affect how you see Dharma, how you hear Dharma in the future, and how deep it lands. Okay, we're back in the keynote. I hated this part of the movie, but this is what is happening to us right now if we're just normal humans. Okay, you can look at the slide. If you hate it, I'm gonna do a transition. What's happening is we're in a vice grip of this human body. We're stuck in time. We don't understand that if I steal something, it means that I will have less. We don't understand that because of time. And remember that wish that Maitreya had, where he was like, oh, I wish that the separation between the action and the result didn't happen. I wish that there wasn't a separation, because then these humans would just see, they would act in accordance with reality immediately. You'd learn like Pavlov's dog. The moment that you didn't tip somebody, your account balance would actually go down. You wouldn't think you were saving money. Your account balance would automatically start to decrease. You see? And so that's like Maitreya's wish. I wish we could just see that, but we can't. We're in this vice grip where we're not understanding how the world is working, and we can't see, like the projector is broken. We can't see the mechanism. We think that things come this way. We don't understand that they come this way. And we don't act like they come this way. Once we can start to, which is difficult, then things will start to change. And that's why I put here, protect me from what I want. It's the honey and the razor blade, right? We think that taking gives us more of the good stuff. The Dharma is counterintuitive. And those who have been practicing for a while, you absolutely know this. Your intuition will tell you, wait, the Buddhist teacher said that I should do this, but like that feels wrong. That feels delusional. Am I delusional? Am I doing something wrong right now by being kind to the person who harmed me? No, I should defend myself. I should defend myself, right? I should protect myself. I should hoard my resources. That's what keeps me safe, right? That's what our intuition says. The Dharma is counterintuitive. It's like going against every fiber of our being. So hold on for the ride. And if it sounds a little crazy, remember the bookshelf is always there. Put the weird teaching on the bookshelf and save what works. Come back to the bookshelf later. Okay. Jenny Holzer, protect me from what I want. And we're about to dive back into emptiness, which is when I have to argue with my intuition. And we all will, and you know it if you've been practicing. Part of my mind says one thing. The other part of my mind says, no, 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 be kind. Other part of my mind, no, 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 defend yourself. You need to yell. You need to push them away. And there's these two parts of our mind that are at war with each other. And the two wolves thing, you know, the two wolves meme, it's like that. It's like that. There's two wolves at war inside of you. And there's one that says things are self-existent. And there's one that says emptiness is true. And if we don't show ourselves that emptiness is true, the other way of living, the normal way of living, is so strong. It has eons and eons and eons and eons and eons of practice behind it. And so if we don't study emptiness, the kindness practice, the compassion stuff, the bodhicitta stuff, I'll be a little bit patient, it will break. That someone will be able to get you to a point where you lose your shit. And you don't want that karma. So study emptiness. Okay. This is a little like amuse-bouche of emptiness. Hector had it in his original teaching. This is a list from Master Nagarjuna. Remember, the king of the Nagas. Nagas are like snake. They're not really snakes. They're like more magical than snakes. They're like magical snakes. And this is the king of the magical snakes. He's an incredible, incredible teacher. Geshe Michael teaches Nagarjuna texts often. And this is a 7-step analysis. He's analyzing a cart. You can think of yourself. And he just runs through this list. Is a cart its individual parts? Is it something other than the parts? Is it dependent on its parts? Do the parts depend on the whole, meaning the entire cart? Does the cart possess its parts or not? Like, is it the cart's parts or is it not the cart's parts? Because what happens when you take a wheel off of one cart and then you put it on another cart? What about the collection of the parts? Is it that? Is it the collection of the parts? Is that what makes a cart a cart? And then he says, is it the shape or outline of the parts? So this is a bunch of different ways to investigate something, and we'll go through it more deep. This is just a bird's eye view kind of thing. We'll go in a little bit more deep. It's really saying there's a thing. I think it comes this way. How do I prove to myself that it doesn't come this way so that I can start to engage in the practices to change my life, to change this fucked up society, to change my dying body, okay? To change my shitty relationship, to stop being so broke. All of those things and more for the sake of all beings. This is why we study this stuff. So let's look at it, Marina Abramovic. Okay. Am I my whole self? I'm going to review this from last time. I think it bears reviewing. My whole self, meaning the sum of my parts. This is the sexy one, remember? This is the one that it seems like Rachel is a combination of all of Rachel's parts and Rachel's mind. But what if I lose a finger? What if I cut my hair? I couldn't be the sum of my parts. Because if I was the sum of my parts, if I lost one part that was included in that sum, then I would disappear. Are you with me? If I am the sum of my parts, if I really am, and to me, this is the one that I always go to. Like, I think it's nice to find one kind of proof of emptiness and then like hold on tight to that one and like keep gathering them as you go, you know? So for me, it's this one, often. If I am the sum of my parts, then if I removed my part, like if I lost a foot or lost an arm or had like an organ removed, then I wouldn't be me anymore. And we know that that's BS. Clicking to the next slide. Okay, well, let's use someone in the chat. Is Gabriel one of Gabriel's parts? Is Gabriel Gabriel's heart? No, right? Because if Gabriel got a heart transplant, then he wouldn't be Gabriel. Okay. And we'll go deeper into this one. Sorry, I thought this was auto-animated. Am I my mind? Am I my mind? Just my mind. Forget the other stuff. What if I just took my mind away from all the other stuff? Would that be me? No, right? Master Shantideva says, listen, you're not the sum of your parts, you're not an individual part, and you're not your mind. What about the raw data that makes me, me? What about the raw data? Am I my DNA? Am I a molecule of water in my body? Or something like that. As we investigate these components, we're looking at ourselves, we're trying to analyze ourselves. This is what people mean when they say no self, by the way. They mean the emptiness of the self. I'm analyzing myself because I don't want to be this way. Like, I love myself and everything, but there's definitely some parts of myself, like the suffering parts, I don't want. So I have to figure out how to shift this thing. So now I'm analyzing it. Where do I actually come from? Where is me located inside? Where exactly? And when I investigate that, I get down to the raw data. I go from like my personhood into like, well, am I these cells? And that's where he's taking us. So we went through whole, parts, mind. Now we're at raw data. So I understand that I'm empty of a nature, but like, what about the raw data that creates me? Oops. So this is the answer to question 1. I look at the emptiness of myself, sorry for the auto transitions, and I look at the emptiness of my parts. Now I'm going deeper into raw data. Did you get number 1, even though it transitioned rather quickly? The emptiness of myself, emptiness of my parts.
Can you go back?
Yeah. Do you have that? Emptiness. I'm looking at the emptiness of myself. Just me. Then the emptiness of my parts. Okay. We're going to move on into raw data. Marina Abramovic's pixelated face. And I want to show you a video. Let's see if this works.
Why
Can
didn't
you
you
hear
figure
it?
this out? Why didn't you bring me here?
Because you lied to us. You told us that the African guy was the doorman at your friend's building, not at your parents' building. You encrypted the truth. That's how good you are at betraying yourself. I told you that he wasn't ready for infinity.
Okay, don't start with that magic blanket bullshit, okay?
It's not magic. It's just the way things are, Tommy. You and me in the air are actually tiny particles that are swirling around together. Look right here. You see?
Okay. Well, look at the cracks between these particles and the cracks we fall through, the holes of nothingness. Exactly, because that's what I just experienced upstairs.
Look closer. There are tiny particles connecting the larger cubes.
Yeah, and then tinier cracks between the connections.
And the tinier connections.
And even tinier cracks.
Yeah, but if you look close enough, you can't tell where my nose ends and space begins because they're unified. See?
So what? You can't see any of this anyway. Do you see anything? No. But I want to debate this particle cube thing.
You live all the time with things you can't see. You can't see electricity, can you? You can't see radio waves, but you accept them.
Trust.
Fuck trust.
Better stay away from Katerina Albert because she's going to lead you down the path of darkness.
Okay, so That's one of my favorite movies. I Heard Huckabees. And they did a little emptiness meditation together that was like slightly off what we were doing, but I think you can kind of see how the parts get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And the cool thing in this film is that actually Lily Tomlin and Dustin Hoffman, they represent one place that our mind can fall into when we're examining reality, which is like things really exist in a certain way. And then their foe, the enemy of the film, she's a nihilist. And so it's them fighting back and forth with their respective philosophies. And the cool thing, what we're studying, the through line, the middle way, is emptiness. You coast through. And each time we go through, the mind will fall into, oh, things really exist this way. Things really exist this way. Wait, they don't exist at all. They don't exist at all. Wait, they really exist. And then holding that line with shamatha, right, with single pointed focus is when we get to emptiness. When we can break the cycle of the 6 links that you talked about in your breakout groups. So the questions are a little bit out of order. But Master Shantideva is saying, we looked at the emptiness of the person and the parts, right? Question 1. Then naturally, the mind will say, I get it. I'm not the sum of my parts. But what about the raw data that I'm made up of? And he's saying, we're still looking at it the wrong way if we think that it's self-existent raw data that we're projecting onto. We're still looking at it incorrectly. We're looking at it self-existently if we think that there is raw data with raw data-ness inside of it that we are then projecting onto. There's 2 options for raw data. Actually, there's 3 because I added karma because of Santi's question and Kelly's question last class. So we're gonna go through the emptiness of the raw data of the physical, so atoms, and then the mental, which is thoughts. So these are the 2 options of raw data. That's the answer for your homework. Atoms and thoughts. And then we'll also go into karma. Oop. So I'm just gonna say it at you because it's gonna transition again. The note here is that there are some schools of Buddhism. You may have noticed by now that different schools of Buddhism often don't believe the same thing. It's also true of their interpretations of karma and emptiness. There are, well, we'll go through the different schools as the course progresses. Some schools of thought believe that the raw data is self-existently raw data, that there are self-existent particles. It's like the scientific view. There's self-existent particles out there that create our reality. So it's just something to note. Okay, so am I my particles? And the proof of the emptiness of the particles is that there's always a top, a middle, and a bottom of the particle. So if I want to find atom, where's atom in the atom? Is it in the top of the atom? Is it in the bottom of the atom? Or is it in the center? Oh, it's in the center. It's probably in the center, right? That sounds right. In center of the atom. That's where the nature must be. Okay, well, which part of the center? Is it the top of the center? Is it the middle of the center? Or is it the bottom of the center? Probably the center of the center, right? And then it goes on ad infinitum. You cannot reach the place where atom resides. This is the emptiness of the raw data of me. Because we really want to say, well, I'm made of cells. I'm made of atoms. But we just realized together that those atoms, any tiniest unit, you can use the same meditation, top, middle, bottom. Beginning, middle, end. And you won't be able to find it. Okay, well, what about my mental raw data? So this would be like the sequence of my consciousness, right? Each individual thought. So let's choose someone. Hey, Maya. Yes. How old are you again? Are you 21? 22?
We're on mute. Yeah, 22.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I didn't remember. So let's talk about your raw mental data.
Sure.
If you believe you're your mind, or you're looking at the emptiness of your own mind, are you, when you think about your mind, are you the thoughts from when you first had a thought as a baby up until now?
No.
Okay, well, you actually know the answer. So if I look at Maya, Maya's 22, right? And it would be tempting for Maya to say, if I'm my mind, if I feel that really like it makes sense, if I could take my mind, you can mute yourself again. If I can take my mind and put it in some like potato that moved from electronics or stuff, then it could be me. And then I would be like trapped in a potato or something. You know what I mean? Like sci-fi movies. But then we have to say, like, what are we actually talking about when we're talking about this consciousness, this continuum of thoughts? Are we talking about from my first thought ever up until now? And then I would say, yeah, that sort of makes sense. Like I'm the sum of my thoughts then. So then if that was true, then I could never have another thought. Because if I'm the sum of my thoughts until this moment right now, then the moments between I just said this moment and then the moment that I'm making that delineation has some thoughts between it. And those thoughts would nullify the sum of the previous thoughts. The moment I had another thought, I would cease to be me because it couldn't be that collection of thoughts. Like if I'm all my thoughts from inception, if I'm Maya, my first thought as a baby, up until age 22, then by the time I reached age 80, if I reached age 80, then there would be all these other thoughts. But I would still be me, right? When I'm age 80. So then what about all these thoughts? I thought I was just my thoughts from birth until age 22. Are you with me? Okay, so that's one of the ways that you can look at it. And then it would be very similar for Santi's question on, well, am I my karma? And then I would say, which karma? And then you would say beginningless time, we're all Buddhists, beginningless time, we've had all these previous incarnations up until now, this moment right now. All of the karmas from infinite beginningless time up until this point, that would be me, right? But what about the 65 karmas I'm planting every finger snap from when I just said that sentence? It would have to be included in me. Because it's still me. I'm still accumulating karma, but it keeps adding to all of that. So it couldn't be the sum of my karma. It couldn't be that I am my karma. I am my karma. I am my karma, but I'm not self-existently my karma. And that allows us to have a lot of fun in creating our enlightened form. And we'll get into that. Oh yeah, I did this. So what I am is a projection onto the sum of parts. And those sum of parts keep changing. So say it's my karma. Say I have a bajillion karmas. I don't even know how many karmas. Countless plus one. Say bajillion, say bajillion. Say I have a bajillion karmas. Then I have a projection. Remember the lasso, Master Shantideva? I have a projection that says, you are all of these karmas. And that's how I am who I am. That's how I know I'm me. I have a projection that says you are these karmas. And then 20 years later, much different karma, especially if you start doing these practices, much different karma. And then I'm still having that projection. Rachel, you are this karma. Deirdre, you are this. You are you. Make sense? Hope so. Hold on. Okay. And this is the answer to question 3, which we just reviewed. So wait, I'm not my raw data. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my particles. When we look for self-existent raw data, we come up empty. And this is true of the way that we see the world as well. Like another person's annoying you. And one way that I hear people interpret this is, oh, it's just my interpretation. They're really out there, this person with blood and bone and skin and shitty thoughts, and they're making sounds at me. But Master Shantideva is saying, don't stop there, because if you stop there, you can't transform the realm. It's not just, I have angry seeds and that person is angry. It's go deeper. He's saying even the fact that they have a body that appears the way, even the fact that there are sounds that you're calling sounds, and decibels that you're calling decibels, and cells that you're calling cells, and temperature that you're calling temperature, every single facet, every single category, and every single appearance is also empty of a nature. So he's saying you have to go deeper. That's question 3. I have to remember what I did here. Oh, right. And so this would be the emptiness of the particles. Question number 6. I think my computer's freezing. Oop.
Is projecting on, is it okay to ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is projecting onto the raw data from our karma, is that, we call that interpretation? Is that how, and so that if our karma is doing a projection that is one of the 6 links, can we try and then through our concentrated focus and our desire to become Bodhisattva, can we ask ourselves to change the interpretation?
Yeah, it can all be changed. It can all be changed, but it's not even the fact that you're saying interpretation and that you're experiencing interpretation is forced upon you by a past karma.
Right.
Yes, there is free will. Free will is also a projection.
Right. Well, what I meant is that the interpretation is the karma. So when we recognize that we're doing an interpretation, we can say that's only an interpretation. And then that can help us let it go and look for the emptiness of the nature, and find one that is more true.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. Is that Anne?
It's Melissa.
Oh, it's Melissa. Oh, sorry. I was having a whole experience with Anne. Okay. And that's my projection. Okay. Thank you, Melissa. I apologize. Not everyone's face is up on the screen. Yeah. The fact that you're saying interpretation implies emptiness. The fact, actually, you saying, oh, this is an interpretation, you're actually talking about this is empty of a nature and someone's having a different experience from someone else, and that's
right. And so I think that's what I'm basically saying, is that everything we do that is our karma is actually our interpretation. And so that gives us a bridge to say, oh, it's empty of nature. Let me find a different one.
It's actually the other way around.
Okay.
Actually the other way around. It's actually that our interpretation is our karma. You can think of karma as like more micro units. If it's 65 per finger snap,
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just removing myself from my interpretation. I'm saying this thing that I think is real is nothing except my karma giving a particular meaning, and it is empty. My meaning is empty. It's nothing except for an interpretation.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I was saying, or that's what I was asking. So you agreed with me.
I think so. Let me finish teaching, and if the question is still there, let me know, because we're going to get a little bit deeper into it.
Yeah, I was just trying to add language so that to make sure I knew what you were talking about.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's important to ask questions. It's important to ask questions. And I'm going to go through because
Yeah.
What the cool thing is about Master Shantideva and all of these saints is that they anticipate what our minds are going to do because they've been there. So they're like, oh, wait. I know that your mind is going to go to the raw data thing. Oh, wait. I know your mind's going to go here. So let's follow the trail. And then at the end, we'll do more questions. But it's a great thing to consider and apply things in our own words, because this has no meaning if we don't practice it. So this slide, question number 6, does the raw data exist self-existently? It doesn't, right? Because there's a beginning, middle, and end. There are parts to the raw data. You cannot find an essence that has raw data in it that's forcing raw data at you. The perception of the raw data is also a projection that comes from my karma, how I've treated others in the past. So the raw data, the fact that I see a top, middle, and bottom of the center of a top, middle, and bottom of the center of a top, middle, and bottom of an atom, infinite regression in both directions, is a projection forced upon me from my past karma. Okay, that was question number 6. So wait, are you the Beatles and you're telling me nothing is real, Master Shantideva? And this is like my PSA because I'm on Instagram a lot and I see what people talk about in the algorithm. And it's this spiritual imperative has nothing to do with making you doubt your valid experience. So Master Shantideva is not gaslighting you. And if the thing that you're taking from this is you're going to go away and then say, this isn't really happening, this isn't really happening, that's not the practice. The practice is it is happening, it does hurt, or it does feel amazing. It is also a projection, which means I can change it. So it's not that nothing is real. Master Shantideva knows that sometimes our minds fall into that space. It's not that. It can sound like that sometimes, but it's not that, says Master Shantideva. I don't know, maybe you have a different algorithm than me, but I see that everywhere. It's my karma. Okay. What's the point? We know the point, right? And then here's the homework question. Why is this the only worldview that works? Which is an interesting question. So the point here is that everything can change, including my death, including my perception of death, my aging, whether or not I'm a human or whether or not I'm beyond a human. That's the point of emptiness. That's the point of arguing with my intuitive way of navigating the world, which is to take instead of give. Right? Okay, and then they say this question and they don't actually answer it in the answer key. So I just wanted to give you a bit on this. Why is this the only worldview that works? And I think what they're getting at here is just that It's actually saying that that cause and effect and lack of an inherent nature is the key that turns on everything. It's what allows Christianity to function for Christians, because cause and effect is true. It's just like saying gravity is true. Wait, can an airplane fly? Wait, can a helicopter fly? Wait, can a bird fly? They're just saying, Master Shantideva is just saying, this is the mechanism that allows everything to function in this world, from a plant growing and so on, all the way to me growing from my human self into an enlightened being. Like this weird visual. I think this is from Tree of Life. Okay. Then this is cool, okay? And I love this, I love this, I love this so much. I hope you love it as much as I do. And Alana, when Hector taught this, I guess it was 3 years ago, you asked this question in class, because I was listening to, I was re-listening to his teachings when he taught this. And the question was, wait, so does that mean that everyone's gonna get enlightened? Does that mean that like every being, from like a cockroach to like the worst, most evil human, that they must get to enlightenment? And this is a question in the homework. And the answer is, because the root of suffering is misunderstanding, when truth appears, the misunderstanding is destroyed so easily. Like I think there's a Rumi quote where, I think it's Rumi, but there's this quote where ignorance is darkness, and you just like turn on the light and the darkness is gone. You know, when there's a light in the room, it doesn't matter how long the room was dark for. You know, it could have been a secret room. Like Santi and I have been watching Bling Empire, which is a bunch of rich Asian people in Los Angeles and living these really extravagant lives. And they have these gigantic houses. And you know how gigantic houses sometimes have secret rooms? If it was a secret room with no windows and no doors, even say, and like 1,000 years from now, someone broke into that room and the light poured in, the darkness wouldn't have a chance. And that's what this is saying. Another metaphor I've heard is like an elephant crushing a house of reeds. It so easily bends and folds. Ultimate reality is like so strong. Emptiness is the antidote. Okay, now we have to talk about Stephen's tattoo. So I don't know how many of you know Stephen. He's the co-director of 3 Jewels. And if you've ever seen his left forearm, you've seen this jackalope, which is not a real animal, and it's a rabbit with horns. This is a symbol in Tibetan Buddhism, and it's called the Gakcha. Now the Gakcha is really important, and we're almost done, so keep it laser, like you're gonna break through, and your next meditation is gonna be the perception, like a laser. This weird looking thing that he chose to embroider into his flesh is the key to emptiness. It's defined as the thing that we deny, the object that we deny. It's also the thing that we get angry at, that we get jealous of, that we scorn, the thing that we desire and become addicted to. It's the Gakcha, the thing that we deny. And we'll go a little bit more into it. So there's the jackalope, the rabbit with antlers, and then another classical example is a skyflower. a flower that didn't grow from the ground. It just appeared in the sky. Something that could never exist. That's the gakcha. So it's called the object we deny, the thing that could never exist. It is a self-existent thing. Now, this is a chart that is actually not part of your homework. You just need to know the gakcha is something that exists without my projections. Just hear my words, don't look at the chart yet. Sorry, I transitioned on you. The gakcha is something that exists outside of my projections, outside of my perception. And I just gave you 3 examples: sky flower, rabbit with antlers, and then if you see the purple elephant, another example that we've learned in the past is a 2-headed purple elephant. Let's talk about the 2-headed purple elephant in this room. It's not here. It was never here. It could never be here. That's why it's the illusion that never existed. Okay, so really quick review of this chart. For those who've studied, you'll know the second 2 rows are like other interpretations of the Buddhist teachings, which are described often as lesser schools, meaning that from the Madhyamika Prasangika view, which is the school that we're studying, Madhyamika Prasangika, or Madhyamika school, from the perspective of this school, these other schools, Abhidharma, like the Abhidharma Kosha text, Mind Only, Madhyamika Swatantrika, the Sutra school, they have a lesser interpretation, and these are designed for people whose minds can't get to the middle way school. And if that sounds judgmental, it is, and just sit with it, okay? And because there's 2 ways that the minds can go, I think. One is, oh, I'm so cool, I'm studying the best one, which is where my mind went. And then other minds that maybe are slightly more virtuous will be like, it's not fair to judge the other schools. They might be onto something. Good for you if you fall in that camp. Either way, we're gonna learn all of the different interpretations and meditate on them, and we'll see which serve. They're actually stepping stones, in my perspective, to get to this higher view, to get to the Prasangika view. They actually function to bring you deeper and deeper, in the same way that Sutra leads you to Tantra. Okay, let's look at the bottom row. So in the Madhyamika Prasangika school, when we look at dependent origination, when we look at how things exist, it's from a projection. It's from a projection. You don't need to know this, you can just listen. Then when we talk about emptiness in this school that we're learning, it's that there's nothing that, it's not that nothing exists outside of your perception, but the thing that you're talking about couldn't exist without your projections. Emptiness, lack of an inherent existence. Okay. Then the gakcha is that the self without a perception does not exist. The gakcha, okay, this language is a little bit awkward for me. The gakcha is saying that it's the thing that we deny is a self-existent thing. So what we're really talking about here, when we say the object that we deny, we say something that exists from its own side, at me. Meaning, if it was an iPhone from its own side, if I could find the gakcha, if I really could find it, then this self-existent iPhone would force itself onto an ant as an iPhone. The ant would know that this was an iPhone if this was a self-existent thing. And everyone would have the exact same perception, emotional experience, physical experience of this thing. We know that that's not true. Why do we know that? When the ant walks across this screen, it becomes an ice skating rink. So in meditation, when we sit and analyze, can I find a self-existent thing? It naturally leads the mind into emptiness. Because wherever I look, I cannot find a nature. How do things exist? They're projections. What's ultimate reality? These things lack an inherent nature. And then what's the gakcha? A self-existent thing that I can't find. Okay. Sorry if that was confusing. Are you okay? Questions? You're good?
Is dependent origination a gotcha? Because it's like something that could never exist?
If it was self-existently so, then yes. If we were saying, the point of the gakcha is that it's a self-existent thing that's outside of my projections. But the way that karma functions is also a projection.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Brenda, can you read this quotation from Master Shantideva?
Yes. One would never be able to grasp how something was devoid of being a thing without encountering that thing it was which one imagined it to be. For this reason, the fact that the deceptive thing is not a thing is something clearly deceptive.
Can you read it one more time?
One would never be able to grasp how something was devoid of being a thing without encountering that thing it was which one imagined it to be. For this reason, the fact that the deceptive thing is not a thing is something clearly deceptive.
Okay, he's saying, how do you know that there's no purple elephants, two-headed purple elephants in the room? How do you know there's not a two-headed purple elephant in the room? You think two-headed purple elephant, and then you look around to see if it's there. In the same way, if we're seeking ultimate reality, we have to try to find the thing that is not. We have to find the self-existent thing that we think we're interacting with all the time. So he's saying, you think that Donald Trump is self-existently an asshole. Find assholeness in him. Find the assholeness in him. Meditate on him. Extract the essence that's forcing him at you in that way. And you will come up empty. That's the utility of the gakcha. Sorry I keep using him. It's just an easy example. I'll come up with a better one. Does that make sense how the gakcha works? Sort of. Okay, we have vague nods. That's still good. So here, high level point. You are a bunch of parts and you're being forced to experience them in a certain way. You have a bunch of parts, mind, body, brain, cells, arms, legs, etc. And you are being forced by your karma to perceive those parts, which are also forced on you by your karma, as a breaking human. You are a bunch of parts and you're being forced to experience them as an enlightened being. The fact that emptiness is true means that this shift can occur. That you can be a bunch of parts and the lasso of that one karmic projection says, Zach, you're not Zach anymore. You have a different name. You're this Buddha. You're in charge of this universe. And you have this many arms, this many legs. You have this many, what's it called? Tulku? You project into all of these different universes in different forms. Now, that's what the lasso is telling you. And that's what the little lassos around the little parts and the little lassos around the parts of the parts keep telling you. And that's the utility of this teaching. Okay, are we almost there? Oh, that's like, this I think of as the emptiness of the body, like the Buddha body. Okay. Now we have time to, this is not classically included in this class. Technically, the review stops at the wisdom chapter, but I want to do the reading on giving. I actually want to do the full reading of the 10th chapter together. And even though the 9th chapter was pretty trippy, the 10th one is really where he starts levitating. That's the one. If you remember from the beginning of class, Master Shantideva, they thought he was dumb. And so they got him to teach. And then over the course of the teaching, they're like, whoa, he's blowing our mind. Oh my gosh, no, no, no. And then the wisdom chapter ends and they're all feeling like you're feeling. And then he starts to levitate off the top of his throne. And he says, it's echoing. Supriya, what I'd like for you to do is read, and then when you are done, you determine when you're done, call on someone else to read. And we're going to read this all together. So if you don't want to be called on, turn your camera off, lay down, turn the volume up, and absorb the teaching. Thus have I completed writing a guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. And I pray that by this goodness, every living being may take up this way of life. Kelly.
By the power of this good deed too, may any single living creature in sickness or in pain, of body or of mind, in any corner of this universe, be thrown into a sea of bliss. Zoe.
And for as long as they may wander in this circle of suffering life, may they never lose this bliss. May every one of them one day reach the bliss beyond all other and stay there never ending. Anne.
I don't know how many realms of hell there are hidden in our world, but by this power may every person trapped in one instead find joy in the joy of the heaven of joy. I don't know who to call. Diego.
May those who feed the cold of hell covered in warmth. May infinite showers of gentle rain fall from vast Bodhisattva clouds, cool the spring pain of those who live there in fire. Allah.
May the forest of falling leaves of knives turn for those who live there into a pleasure grove of shady bowers. May the daggers of the trunks of the trees of Shalmali sprout as the wish-giving tree instead. Zach.
May the caverns of hell suddenly echo forth with the soft, sweet song of the dove and nightingale. Ruby-throated sparrow, graceful swans, birds of every kind, drawn to the gentle waters that spring up instantly there, covered with lotuses whose delicate fragrances fill the air. Dear
Zach, can you keep reading more? Like, can everyone read about 3 or 4 stanzas? Because we have a few to go through. Yeah.
May the heaps of burning embers of fire become piles of precious jewels, and the red-hot glowing iron floor the ground of a new world, sparkling in crystal light. May the mountains that slam together, crushing the crowds of helpless people between them, turn to the palace temples of heaven, filled with bliss-filled Buddhas. In the moment that I speak may the great rain of putrid filth and the stones of solid fire, knives and spears transform into a soft, steady shower of fragrant flower petals. And in the hells of anger, where people snatch up rocks and sticks to gash one another open, may they instead gather up armfuls of petals, laughing, tossing each over each other. Deirdre.
I send the awesome power of the good deed that I've done as well to all those trapped within the river that cannot be crossed, wrapped within the hell flame there, with all the skin and flesh ripped away from their bodies, the bones jutting out in the glistening white of freshly fallen snow. May this power grow their bodies back in the form of divine angels. And then may the beings in hell take pause and wonder suddenly to themselves, why now do the henchmen of the Lord of Death and his vicious ravens and the birds of prey, why do they turn and run from us? What glorious power has turned the night of hell to golden day and smothered us within this happiness, this strength, this bliss? Why could have such a power? And may they raise their eyes and see the blue of sky, and seated in it, the one who holds the diamond in his hand, and then they may joy spread. And then may joy spread. It's moving. In their hearts so powerful that it tears away every wrong they ever did. And so then they can rise and fly away with him. Who do I want to read now? I'll finish it. May a rain of lovely flower petals mixed with cool and perfumed water descend in a song and extinguish the flames of the fires that burn in hell. May the beings who live there look upon this slight and suddenly. May the beings who live there look upon this sight and suddenly be overcome by happiness. And then may they think to themselves, who could have done this thing? And may they turn and see before them the one who holds the lotus in his hand. Is Christina here? Christina?
I'm here. And then may the hell beings hear a voice that calls to them and says, "Come, my friends, so far away, cast away your fears now, and come be at my side. Come to the one whose power has stripped away your agony and thrown you into joy." And when they lay their eyes on this one, on gentle voice himself, may every miserable creature there burst forth in a song that roars throughout the hells, a song that sings, "You are the Bodhisattva who protects every single living being, overcome by your love for them. You are the youth divine with your flowing locks, body blazing in light. How could it be that you have come to us and smashed the terrors here? Are you not the one to whom 1,000 gods would run to touch the tips of their crowns at your lotus feet? The one whose eyes glisten in tears of compassion for us? The one on whom a constant shower of petals falls? See him now, surrounded by palaces, filled with crowds of celestial maidens singing out his praises. Oh, thus may it come to pass, through the power of the goodness that I've done. Every suffering being in hell, wrapped now deep in happiness, standing, staring up at clouds as they gather overhead, and the reality of the Bodhisattvas, the one whose name is sheer excellence, and all the rest, uncovered fully in the light, sending down upon them showers of the rain that brings them bliss, cool, soft rain, rain of finest fragrance. I'll call upon Danielle.
And by this power, may every being who lives in the animal realm be freed from the terror of feeding off of each other. May those who live as craving spirits enjoy a life of peace and plenty, like humans of the Isle of Haunting Voice. May a stream of milk descend from the hand of the Lord of Power, the realized one, the one who looks with loving eyes, and may it fill the spirits who crave, washing them too in a gentle bath, leaving them cool and refreshed. And by this power, may the blind open their eyes and see the beauty. May the deaf hear the song of sound. May every woman with child give birth, as Maya, the Buddha's angel mother, did him, without a hint of pain. May those without sufficient clothing be suddenly clothed. May the hungry be instantly filled with food. May those who suffer now from thirst drink fine, fresh water and other delicious beverages. May every poor person there is find all the money they need. May those who grieve be comforted. May those who've lost hope find hope anew and security that will never leave them. May every single being who's sick within this entire universe be suddenly totally cured. May every kind of disease ever known to living kind vanish now, forever. I will call on Alyssa.
May all those in any kind of fear be suddenly freed from it. May those imprisoned be released. May those downtrodden come to power, all of us living then as family in harmony with each other. May all of those who are on the road to anywhere at all be safe and comfortable wherever they are now. And may they, without the slightest trouble, find at the end of their journey the thing they left their home to find. May all those who've left dry land to travel in boats or ships accomplish all they set out to do. May they cross the dangers of the waters and then return safe to their homes and the arms of friends and family. May those who travel a barren waste or mistake their way, who wander lost, suddenly come upon new companions and find their way easily, free of fatigue, without the slightest danger of things like thieves or wild beasts. May holy angels come and protect all those who live in fear, with nowhere to go, no path to follow. Small children, the elderly, those with on one, maybe only one to help them, those who cannot sleep, those who are troubled, and the insane. May they spend every life they still have to live free of every obstacle to a spiritual life. May they find firm feelings of faith and wisdom and a perfect capacity for love. May their physical needs be filled. May they lead good lives. And should I call on someone now? I can't see everyone here. What about Hannibal?
May they have all they need to live forever without a moment's pause, as if they possessed the treasure of the magic sky. May they live together without ever quarreling, without ever hurting each other, enjoying instead the freedom to live as they choose to. May every person who is small or shy, who has no confidence, become strong and full of grace. May those who've lived a life of need and suffered from it physically recover in resplendent health. May all who live in a place in society where they're not treated right transform forever to a position ideal. May those who are looked down upon be raised up high, and their arrogant friends be tumbled to the ground. And by this goodness I have done, may every single suffering being give up every single harmful thought or word or deed, taking up always in its stead thoughts and words and deeds of virtue. Anthony.
May these beings never cease to strive to reach the ultimate goal for others, and may their hearts be swept away by the stream of loving conduct. May they abandon every sort of dark behavior, remaining in the care of every holy being. May every living soul enjoy a life is immeasurably long, living thus forever in a state of constant bliss, so that even the very word death is never heard spoken again. May all the places that exist in every world there is turn instantly into gardens of elegant design, filled with trees that grant your every wish. And may the enlightened ones, along with their daughters and their sons, walk amidst the trees, singing out the sweet song of the Dharma. And in each one of these places, may the very foundation, the earth itself, be transformed from sharp stones and the like into the heavenly ground of lapis lazuli, and smooth as the palm of your hand and soft to walk upon. Mackenzie.
And like a precious jewel adoring this same ground, may all the secret worlds that exist and all the goodness in them abide atop these newfound lands, crowded with warrior angels. And two, may all who live and breathe hear the song of birds, the wind in the trees, the light of the sun and the sky itself, singing aloud to them an endless rhapsody of holy teachings. And wherever they go, may they always meet the enlightened ones and their children who strive for enlightenment. May they honor these lamas, the highest of beings, with endless showers of offerings. Carly.
May the lords of the sky send down the rains on time, so to bring forth plentiful harvests. May all existing governments make their decisions based on the teachings, and thus may the whole world prosper. May every medicine come to have the power to cure. May the secret words fulfill all hopes. May the minds of gods and spirits of sickness alike be overcome with thoughts of compassion. May no single living being ever again feel a single pain. May they never again feel afraid, never again be hurt by another, never again be unhappy. May places of spiritual learning thrive, filled with people reading sacred books and singing them out loud as well. May communities of spiritual practitioners live always in harmony, and may they achieve the high goals for which they live together. Susan.
May all those who have ever taken the vows of a monk come to master the arts of solitude, throwing off every kind of distraction, gradually refining their minds, learning perfect meditation. May nuns forever find support for their physical needs and live lives free of conflict or any outside threat. May every person who's ever become ordained conduct themselves perfectly in their moral code. And may any of those who may have ever broken this code regret what they've done and always work to clean the karma. May they then return to a higher birth and in their new life never see their spiritual discipline fail again. May every sage who lives in this world find the honor due to them and always be offered the food and other needs they request. May they always take care that their hearts are pure, and may they earn a good name that spreads throughout the entire world. Deirdre.
Deirdre already went.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
It can wait. Santi, who didn't read?
Donna?
Yeah, Donna, Kupika.
I can read. Yeah. May none of these people ever again undergo the pain of the lower realms in strength beyond the strength of gods. May they quickly win the state of a fully enlightened one without the slightest hardship. May every suffering being there is make offerings over and over again to every enlightened being there is. And may the enlightened ones enjoy forever what we have offered them in infinite waves of bliss. May every plan there is in the heart of every Bodhisattva to help every living being come true. May everyone get every single thing that the enlightened ones who shelter us have in mind for us to get. May those who follow the lower paths of self-made awakened ones and listeners attain the happiness they seek. Santi.
Santi, can you finish it, please? The whole thing?
Absolutely. And may we, through the kindness of gentle voice, remember in life after life who we are and what we practice, rejecting the worldly way of life again and again until the day we reach the level called intense joy. May we gain the mystic ability to live off even the poorest of food, growing ever more strong and healthy. In all our lives, may we win the wealth of learning to live in solitude with nothing more than barest needs. And when anyone ever longs to see him or ask him even the slightest question, may the shroud which covers their eyes be torn away so that the High Protector, Lord Gentle Voice himself, instantly appears. We are working to achieve the goals of all the living things there are in every corner of this universe. And so by this power, may we learn to do every single one of the things that Gentle Voice is able to do. And may we decide that we will stay to work to clear away the pain of every living being there is until the last day of this universe, until the very last suffering creature is changed. May every single pain that is coming to any single being there is ripen now upon me instead. May the great community of bodhisattvas go forth and spread through all the world to work for the happiness of all. The teachings of the enlightened ones are the one medicine that can cure the great sickness of living kind. They are the one ultimate source of every form of happiness. And so by this power, may the teachings remain long upon this planet with all the support they require and all the respect they deserve. And lastly, do I bow myself down to the one with the gentle voice, the one who has been kind enough to teach me the ways of virtue. Thus last do I bow myself down to the one who is kind enough to raise me up from childhood. I bow to you, my spiritual guide.
So just take a moment. That was your mandala and your dedication. So this is what Master Shantideva hit them with after wisdom. Even if you didn't read, feel as though you said all the words and rejoice. And I have one last request before we leave, especially since there's 1 minute. Is the chat disabled? No, it's not disabled. Can everyone change their names on their chat to Supriya? I just spelled it out for you in case you don't know how to spell it. So just rename yourself Supriya. And especially if you know Supriya. So today's her 18th birthday. No, I'm just kidding. I don't remember how old you are. You're like 26 or something. 27. Okay, so as a birthday present, I don't want to sing, but I'd love for all of us to name ourselves Supriya and then type all the things that we love about her into the chat. So she has no choice but to know that the things that we're reflecting back at her are coming from her. Okay, so if you could just take a moment to write a love note to Supriya, and then that's the end of class. If you don't know how to change your name, there's 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of the little square that your face is in, and then just click rename. Especially those of you who have studied with Supriya in the past, if she's taught you Dharma, it's a high offering, you know. So we'll just take a moment, and then I'll save the chat for her. Supriya, you should also write stuff about yourself, just so we know it's like, just so we all stay anonymous.
Is that what you're sharing with me?
Okay, you have 1 more minute, so type fast.
Love you, Supriya. Thank you for being here. Please stay.
Thank you all. My heart is like fizzily and bursting. You're all on the projector on my big wall. That's why I'm looking up.
So thank you, numerous Supriyas, for attending class tonight and for sticking with it. Emptiness is a very slippery subject. Next week, we're going to look at logic and how to argue with ourselves internally.
Happy birthday, Supriya.
Happy birthday.
Love you, Sophia. Happy birthday, Angel.
Happy birthday, Soups. Also, if you want the there's a recording of Geshe Michael Roach reciting what we just read on YouTube. I've been listening to it for the past week. It's really cool.
Oh, thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Can you share that link, Tala? Or maybe Rachel can send it in the recap.
I'll send it in the chat right now. I have it like.
Actually, Tala, can you email it to me? And that way I can send it to everyone, even if they logged out early.
Yes. Diego sent it to me just for credit.
Okay. Well, that's it, everybody.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
You're amazing. You're just amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for the dedication.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, right? Like
Yes.
the poetry, and especially how Ken Rinpoche and Geshe Michael translate the poetry from Tibetan and from Sanskrit into English, I find like very, very, very magical. And so when we get a chance to actually recite the prayers, it does something, you know? And like Master Shanti Dev is like, okay, like think of everything, like, okay, think of everything, and then like go through and then like just totally love and purify everything. And it's so amazing.
Yeah. I noticed you got very emotional, and it also touched me in that way too. I could sense that. It was really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for teaching, Supriya. You're awesome.
Hannibal, I love you. Hannibal's iPhone, I love you.
Love you. Oh shit! Yeah, my battery died, so that's why it says Hannibal, not Supriya. But my real name is Supriya.
All right, I am going to log out and eat some pizza. Bye bye.